بالاییه فول اسکرین کوکی اما جدوله را در گد نشان میده. اینی رو فول اسکرین کن. پلی کیره.
I know that still I didn't post for it. I think still I didn't post the final announcement. So I need to post the announcement for this one also to give you more details about the final exam. So you need to have a function and like so many things. So keep all the work in your account. That's the only thing. So we do not need to do anything from outside, but the table will be there in the connection given. So when you get the questions, you supposed to be, yeah. So I added till I extend till Saturday, and that will be the final submission, please. Because many students send me email about assignment 4. More commands that to work with a NoSQL database, and then your work on your side. So if I want to go and run, I just go to your account and see what you have. So when we test everything, so just you can look to the listen to with us to the lecture, but you need later to go and prepare all the software to be able to do the work. If you are with me from last week and everything is set correctly, you have the MongoDB running smoothly without any issue, then most will come. We continue now to do more practice with some of the commands that we need to learn. I just added for you here in the presentation this link. This is a very useful website from the mongodb.com. It has the tutorial, it has a manual, it has even they have even online what you call it, like connection. So basically you can run directly on their page even if you don't have the installation completed. So it is very, very useful, and you can use it to learn some or to see some more examples. So the lecture, again, we have at the beginning, we have some theory parts before we start to run the required commands. So let's go over some theory definition quickly or comparison. And I strongly encourage you please to read these the theory parts, because you know, like in your final exam, as I said before, you have most of the question will be true and false, multiple choices. So you will get a lot of things that related to what you have in the slides. So no memorization, but try to read, so at least when you get the questions, you can understand, I mean, or you can know the answer from your reading. Okay, so the first thing we have is, in the last lecture, we compared between the SQL and NoSQL. Anyone remember something from last lecture? What we said, or what you know from before, as the main differences between the SQL and NoSQL? If you remember anything, you can write it, or if you want to use the mic, also most will come. So if anyone asks you how you can compare between the structured query language or the structured database with the NoSQL database, what you will say? What you will answer in the comparison? So by this level, you should be able to answer this question, compare between the SQL and then the NoSQL. NoSQL database doesn't have a structure. Okay, so number one, and we could start. So the NoSQL database doesn't have a structure. Okay, NoSQL is document based. The NoSQL can be document based, such as the MongoDB. Exactly. More. Anyone can add more? More. Okay, so for the structured database, the one that we already started with before, first there's a structure. Means like we first think about the structure. NoSQL is a flexible than the SQL when defining the schema. Exactly, excellent. Then, so within the structured database, there are some steps that we follow in order to reach to the final database, as I talked about that before. So there is a structure that we need to decide about it at the beginning. So for example, we need to decide about each table. We need to decide about the attributes or the field within the table. We need to decide about the constraints. We need to decide about the primary key and foreign key and how we'll join the tables. So there are many things we need to think before we go and work with the data or to fold the data in the table. If you notice what we did last lecture, we create the database empty, we create the collection, we put the data, and then we need to do whatever we want to do. So the first thing, we put the data. The data, just the only constraint that we have is the data need to be in a specific format. That's the main thing. Data need to be in a specific format. The format that we need is for this level, for this type of database that we are working, which is the MongoDB. The format need to be within the JSON format. And we talked about that in some of the examples that we did in last lecture. So today we'll do the same thing. So basically in the practical part, we need to create a database, we need to create collections, and then we need to start to use the commands that represent the correct command. Like we need to read, we need to insert, we need to delete, we need to update, just like what we did before with the structured database. So at the beginning of this slide, I just go over the theory part a little bit. So we have here some comparison about the SQL versus NoSQL. So in terms of what? The comparison. In terms of the data storage, in terms of the development history, in terms of the examples, excuse me, and the primary purposes why we use it. And then, for example, what about the schema? What about the scaling? So all of these are different points of comparison. So this is what we have in the SQL databases or the structured databases, and this is what we have in the NoSQL databases. So if you get a question like asking you to compare between this and this, you can choose. Okay, in terms of this one, this is the comparison. In terms of the development, this is. In terms of the exam, like you can choose any point from these and consider it as a point of comparison. Okay, so if we start, for example, with the data storage and data storage model. With the structured database, we have tables with the fixed rows and columns. Okay, from this side, if we talk about the NoSQL, then we have the databases can be different. It can be document-based, can be key and value, can be wide column, can be, the graph. So there are different types of NoSQL databases based on what we want to store or what we need to have within the database. The database that we are using now is the MongoDB. MongoDB is from this type, which is a document-based. Now, since a document-based means like the representation, we have a document, and this document represents row within the structured database. The format that, as I said, we need to use it is the JSON document or the JSON format. In terms of the development, the structured database is something old, like we have it since 1970 and it's used from long time until now. There are many applications based on the structured database. It has a lot of strength, many benefits. It's still good and still Oracle database considered something very powerful. But on the other side, there's a development started at the late of 2000 for the NoSQL databases, and mainly because of the big data or the big amount of data or the different data types that we can cover here and we cannot cover here. On the other side, the flexibility. The working with the NoSQL, it's more flexible than working with the structured databases because less low here. We don't have that much low. We don't have that much constraints. The examples that we have, the main example that we are using in the structured database is the Oracle. We have the MySQL, Microsoft SQL. Now, why there are different databases? Because like different companies, different products, each one, most of them similar command with some differences, maybe with the data type, the name, just like the syntax different maybe. From this side, with the NoSQL, also we have different types of the databases. We have the MongoDB, we have the this one for the graph, NEO4j, Cassandra. So we have different types of the NoSQL databases, as I said, and the example we're covering in this course is the MongoDB because this is the most commonly used. If we talk about why it is used, like usually the database we can say is general purpose, it's used everywhere, in school and university, clinic, hospital, office, store, everywhere they can use a database to store their data and tables and producing report based on what they need. From the other side, like here also with the NoSQL databases, mostly used with the organization or the company that work with the big data, with data that maybe cannot store easily within the traditional databases. For example, if you talk about the companies that they have a lot of data that like video type or images or animation or sounds, these are maybe it will be better to use this type of databases. From the other side, if we talk about the schema, now the word schema, the people explain it or understand it in different ways. So the schemas refer maybe the main or the good explanation. It's maybe the structure, I can call it maybe. So we don't have within the NoSQL fixed or something that we need to decide about it from the very beginning. So that's why we said that the schema within the NoSQL, we look at it as something flexible. Flexible means, okay, you will see that the document should not be the same. I have one document include, for example, 3 fields, and I have another document include 10 fields, like they're all. While there, within the traditional databases, we have the schema need to be fixed. Like I cannot have a table in one table, one row with 2 fields, and another row with 4 fields. I cannot. So it's a block that need to be, all the rows need to be exactly the same. In terms of the scaling, when they compared, they said that the traditional database, we look at it as a vertical or scale up with a larger server. So for better understanding this one, the vertical refer is you have a table and then you can fill it with data and keep adding row. So you are moving vertically. So the expand will be in a vertical way. While here, when you work with the NoSQL, you will see that we can work horizontally, scale out. Why? Because we can keep adding to the, as I said, to the document. So when you say document, remember it's a row. So again, in one row we can have, as I said, 4 fields, and then we can have in another row, another document, you can have 5, and we keep adding and we can change the available width or the available fields within the document horizontally. The other part, which is very important also to understand, it's the ACID. Now, in the last lecture also we talked about how the traditional databases support the ACID, and mainly it's ensure the consistency in the data. While from the other side, the NoSQL not covering the ACID, but it's covering or guaranteeing the availability of the data, which is we do not have it here in the traditional databases. So as you can see, each one of them has some good thing and maybe some other advantages or disadvantages. So you can look at it. Now the companies or the big organization, it depends what they want. They are good with these features, then okay, continue with the traditional. These properties or these characteristics not enough to what they want to do, then they can move to the other type. Now again, we have here the other point that about the join. Usually when we have different tables within the traditional database, we talked about the different type of join that we can use. We have inner join, outer join, just the normal join. So we need to connect the table together in order to retrieve. On the other side here, we do not talk about use a special command for the join. Instead, we can embed the document inside the other document. So you can have one collection inside the other collection. The other point that we have here, they said with the comparison, this requires ORM, which is object relational mapping. So some advanced feature about the object relational mapping, while this one, many do not require the ORM with this one. MongoDB documents map directly to the data structure in most popular programming language. Okay, so as you can see, we have here different points of comparison. As I explained, maybe not memorizing, but you can read it. So if anyone asks you or if you get a question, you know what you should answer. Okay, now from the other side, this slide will have the more details about some of the points that we have here. So for example, more about the data storage model, that the one that we just talk about it here, this one. And then more explanation about the schema, that's how it compare between them, more about the transactions and the operations. So maybe I can just add some comments about each one of them. So in terms of the type with the NoSQL databases, we have 4 major types of the NoSQL. So not all the NoSQL databases following the same style that what we are doing here within the MongoDB. So as I said, the MongoDB format, we refer to it as the document databases, where the data store the data in documents similar to the JSON, the JavaScript object notation objects. Now, the other example of the database, we have a key and value, are a simpler type of the database where each item contains keys and value. There's another type called the wide column stores, which store the data in tables and rows, but it can be dynamic column. And then the other type, we have the graph database, which is store the database as node and edge. So these are, again, just for you to know that there are another types of NoSQL databases. Now, of course, for us, when we learn, like for example, a software application or programming language, there will be something else. You know, like there are more. Like the problem is, I don't know if any one of you be in this situation before. Like if you try, for example, to apply for a job, let's say. So, for example, you know Java, you know SQL, you work with Oracle, and then you go to apply for a job. They ask you, do you know about Python? Said, no, I don't know about Python. And then you go and learn Python. And then after that, now you know Java and you know Python and you know SQL, you work with Oracle, and you go another interview, they ask you, are you using C#? So the problem is always there's something more. But the idea is, if you know the basic, hopefully learning the other stuff should be easy. Like especially in terms of the programming language. Like if you know one language good and you have a good base, your logic good, when you move and try to learn another language, should just you need to know the difference in the syntax. But you need to have, the main thing you need to have is the logic. That's the main thing. So why I'm saying that, the same thing here these, there are different types of NoSQL databases. Of course, we're not gonna use all of them. We're working with one now, but in the future, if you get the chance, for example, to work, it should be like there are some similarities based on what we learn in this course. Okay, now in terms of the schema, as we said, the schema, if we consider it as the structure that we need to have, so the MongoDB collections by default doesn't require its document to have the same schema or the same structure. So basically, you'll see that also when we do the practice. Now you can have a collection, which is similar than the table, And then within the collection, you can add many document, and these documents doesn't have to be exactly the same, can be different. So the document in a single collection do not need to have the same set of fields, as we said. And also the data type for the field can be different. So not only the number of fields can be different between the documents, even the data type. So you can have one document, the field with the data type, and you have another document where the field with a different data type. So you can see a lot of flexibility in terms of number of fields, in terms of data type. Now, for the transactions, we talked about that. Transactions means the operation that we can do. In today's lecture, you will learn about different commands that we can use to work with the MongoDB. For example, if you want to insert, if you want to delete, if you want to update. Now, these commands, the command that we have here, we can use it to affect or to work on only one document or with many documents at the same time. So we can do that. And also there are another commands that we can learn that's related to changing the field, not only the data. So basically we can write some commands to change the data, or for example update the data, but also we can write commands to update, for example, the field that we have within the document. So if I ask you a question like within the traditional database, like in Oracle, also we did the same thing. So who remember, like if I want to write a command to change the field, what should I do? Which command I need to use? Not the data. Like if I want to change a column in a table. Anyone remember something? Or? That's how to change the data. Changing the data, we need to use update. Exactly. Excellent. So alter. You need to use the alter command. So within Oracle, we can do the update on two sides. We can update the data, or we can update the structure. Now, update the data, we need to use the update command. Update the structure, we need to use the alter command. But here in the MongoDB, you will see, like if you want to update the data, what you need to use. If you want to update the field, what we want to use. The other point that's very important about the transaction that we mentioned before in the last lecture, also that's how these two databases are different. We said about the major support that each one of them give. So within the NoSQL, we said that it is or the major benefit we can get is the high availability of the data, while within the traditional database, what we gain the consistency of the data. So when there are different servers or different users working on the same time, there should be some mechanism, for example, in Oracle or in traditional database in general, to ensure that the data is consistent between all the users at the same time. Okay, so yeah, these about the command that we need to use. So anyone remember this word CRUD? CRUD refers to what? CRUD. Maybe it's mentioned here somewhere. Create, unread, and update and delete. Exactly. So this is the create, unread, and update and delete. The four commands that we can use with the database, the CRUD operations. Create refers to the create or insert, and the read refer to the select, and then the update and delete. Okay, and the other point that we talked about also about the scalability. So here more details. We have something that we have it with the NoSQL. They call it the replica set, or there is another term they call it the shared let's see if it depends like on next class if we have something about that. So there are more features that we have with the NoSQL. So how the NoSQL database ensure or guarantee the high availability? So what's the mechanism that used with the NoSQL to ensure the high availability? So one of the things that we have, see the MongoDB's replication facility, we call it replication, which is called a replica set. This replica provide many features, and one of them it's data redundancy and also automatic, they call it failover. And this replica set is, what is it? What is the meaning of this replica set? That we have it within the MongoDB and ensure the high availability. So basically it's a group of the MongoDB server that maintain the same data set. So there are some way that they have the same data in different places. So not only centralized database like what you have within the traditional database. So this feature create from one side redundancy of the data. Why? Because we have data repeated on different servers, but on the other side, it's make this the MongoDB is have this feature of the high availability, because what happens if one server is not working, there is another server that can provide the data. And that's why with this, the companies, as they said, that working or dealing with the large amount or big amount of data, the way how they do is dividing the data set or all the data they have on between the servers. So there are different terms that related to this dividing the data. So one of them they call it the replica set, and the other one is the sharding. It's basically a mechanism of dividing the data and separate it on different servers. It needs also some special commands to understand this one, but this is just to show you some of the features that we have within the MongoDB. Okay, so this slide, as I said, you need just to ensure that you go over and understand. Now we need to return back to our practice. So the first thing what you need to do, you have under week 11, you have the file which is like this. Just let me open this one. So let me share my screen. Let me share the screen. So if you look to this file, this one, so you have this file under week 11 from last lecture. In order to start your robot, then we can work with the MongoDB shell. So first of all, you need to run this command, and then you need to run this command. But these two commands, you need to run them on the CMD administrator. So you need to run as administrator. So first of all, you need to open the command window as administrator, and you run the MongoD, this command. And then after that, you need to open another a command window also as administrator, and you need to run the Mongo, this one, where you provide the port. And if everything is good, then you need to start the robot. Now, if you don't want to use the robot, you just want to write the command directly on the Mongo shell, you can. But I don't know, I feel that this is easier with this tool that allow you to write the code directly, just like how we have within the MongoDB shell. If you remember, like when you get this window, just you need to give a name to the connection. You keep this one as direct connection, and you give it a name. And then just you need to provide the local host with the port that you are using. You can use test to check your connection and save. So that's what we did last time. And then I hope that you already have the settings ready, so we can start now together the practice. Okay. So now what I will do now, I will start the robot, if you are with me. So now I did the connection. So now I'm connected with the server, and now I want to start the robot. Now when you start the robot, we'll show you the last connection that you have. So if you want to create a new one, you can go create. If you want to delete any one of these, just remove. So I will, for example, I just want to use the same one, so I will keep this one, and I choose connect. You can use any one that you have from last time, and you just click on connect. Now once you connect, you should see all the databases that you create from before, and then I hope all of you with me. So before I continue, any issue, any question, anything not clear? All of you with me at this point? All of you with me, please? So you are on this window, you are just like me, like this window? Excellent, very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay, so then let's continue. So the first thing is what you need to do now. We need to create a new database. So go to the connection from here, do right mouse click, create database, and let's call it Centennial database, and then you put underscore week 12. We'll call it like that. Database week 12, and then create. So I get this database and it's empty now. And then we need to continue. So when you go to this database now, if you go here, you do right mouse click, you have open shell. So this will open for you a shell window, and you can just like working just like from there, from the command prompt. So the same thing, but you can do it here. The different here is you have different views, and you can use the menu. So I don't know, like how maybe some of you feel that it's better to work there. That's totally, it's up to you. Whatever you feel it's good, you can do it. Okay, so let's see what we have. So the first command that we need to see is we have the use command. So use is you can choose use a database, so you can give use and the database name. And if the database is not there and you are using use, so this will create the database. So for example, now if you are here, I have different databases. So I can say, for example, now I want to use, for example, school. You can choose any one of them. And then you have here the run. So click run, it will show you that it's switched to the school. If I want to return back to my database for today, so I can just choose underscore the base underscore week 12, and then run from here. So now we return back to the database. That's number one. Number two, if for some reason you want to write a command to show you which database you are working, you have db. So you have from here db. So if you run, it should show you what is the current database you are working on. You have another command called show dbs. So this should show you all the lists of all the available database within this connection. Now, is the MongoDB case sensitive? Yes, it is case sensitive. So just you need to be sure about when you write the command. And my screen shared, right? While I'm moving. When I'm changing from window to window, screen share, please. Okay, excellent. Okay, so that's the first thing. So now let's go to the second one. Okay. So now the other command that we have is how we can add data. Add data represents the insert that we learned before. It's the command that we can use. We have a different command that's no sound. Hello, 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 hello. Now it's good. Okay. So the second thing we need to learn is what? It's the so the insert command. Let me just share the screen one more time. Connection. Okay, so now the second command that we need, what is it? Okay, this one. So let's see what we have here. We need now to see the insert. So how we can use the insert? The command is db, and you put the name of the collection, and then you put either insert1 or insert many. Now insert1 is to insert only one document. So how we do that? You put insert1 and you put the document, as you can see. So how the document will be formatted will be within the two braces, and then you need to have the field and value, field and value, field and value. You need to the field and value need to be separated by the column, as you can see, and the value need to decide the data type. Like if it is a string, then within the double quotation, if it is a number, we can just put it without double quotation. So that the insert one. So if you want to do to run the same command, let me do this one. Okay, so let's try to do this command. Okay, share with me. Now what happens if the collection is not there? So if the collection is not there, like if we are here, and then if you just rewrite this command. So now what we are saying, we need to db user insert one, and we need to have this to add this document. So do I have here users? I do not have here user. So if I run this command, what will happen? So if you run, you should see that it's working fine. The program, even if you do not have the collection, like if you do not have the table, you will not get error that this table is not there. So the program created for you and add whatever you have. Okay. So please, you can stop me anytime you have issues. So when no one asks, I'm assuming that everything is good, and I'll keep moving. So that's number one. The second thing that you have, for example, now we need to check or we need to see how we can read from the collection. Okay, so this is how we can add this example. We have more examples now, we learn them later. So one by one. Now the second thing is we need to read. How we can do the read operation. So the read operation means like read operation retrieves the document from the collection, means the queries the collection of documents. Now the MongoDB provides the following methods to read the document from the collection. So we have the main method that we have for reading or represent the select statement is the find method. So what is the syntax? The syntax is db dot the collection name and find. db collection and find. Now this find can be with a different syntax. It depends on the condition, depends on the operation that you want to use, depends if you want to do only selection and projection, whatever you want to do. So we need now to see different types of the find, and then let's try to do these commands. So if you are with me, let me just show you what we can do. So this one, let me show you what we have. So if you are with me a second. Okay, so let's see what we have. So if you look to this command, I don't know if you remember from last time, I told you that there's a view here on this one. Do you see this one? So there's a view from this one. You can change between the view. So this one will give you the tree. This one will give you the like the column, and this should be the code. You remember that? So for example, now let's see, I want to use db users find, this one. Now if you have many, just like the other applications, like if you have many commands and you want to run only one, so you can just highlight and run. Like for example, in this case, I want just to run the first one. So what I will do, I want to find everything from users. So this one, db users find, this one just like I'm saying, select a star from users. Select a star from users. So if you run this one, you should see what you get in this case. and then, as I said, you can just display in a different view. Limit of 5, yes, I will tell you. So a limit of 5, like if your command give you, for example, if the find give you 100 rows or documents, so limit 5, you get only 5. So specify how many rows you want to get. No problem. So now if you take a look to this one, the first command, this one, so our table include only 1 row. Why? Because that's what we add. We insert only 1 row. So therefore, when you choose select star from users, which is this one, users.find, you get only 1, but you get only 1 row, which is this, right? Now, what is this one? This one, anyone would like to explain what is this? If anyone know? How you explain this line? Some of you already used this one before, right? Okay. So this one means what? The age greater than 18. So how can I? This one means like I want to retrieve all the documents. I want to retrieve all the documents if the age is greater than 18. So now why it is in this syntax? Yeah, that's the main issue. Many people, when they convert from the, like they use, for example, before the Oracle database, and they try to learn here the commands, they find the commands they're easier. I mean, I don't know like how you feel now, but see, like the commands here you have a lot of things that you need to see. Like you have the braces, you have the colon, the operator. You need to put this symbol, just like the $sign. Okay, so this part, the part from this one to this, from here to here till the comma, this is called selection part. Selection part means what? Okay, select a star from users where age is greater than 18. That's the meaning of that. Select a star from user where the age is greater than or greater than 18. This is the meaning of this one. So this part, see, from this one, this is selection. All right. Now, what is this? Any idea about this one? Excellent. So this one define which field you want to return or to display. So if you put this one means this is a flag. This is a flag. This flag can be either 1 or 0. This flag can be either 1 or 0. So if you put name 1 means you want to display the name. If you put address 1, then you need to display the address. Anything else that it is not 1, it will be a 0. Then it will be hidden and will not be displayed in the result. Right. So based on this command, we should get what? We should get 2 columns, right? We should get only the name and the address. Or what do you think? So based on, if I run this command, I should get only the name and the address. Right? So if I take this one and run it, why? So if I run, let me put it on the table. So if I run this one, so it's give me what? It should contain the ID. Okay. So here for this example, for the row that we have, there's nothing called address, so we didn't get the address. We get only the name. But why we get the ID? We get the ID because the ID is a primary key and it is there by default. So the ID should be always there because this is the primary. Can we hide it? Yes, we can hide it, and we'll see that in the example. Okay, all of you get that part? Clear for all of you? Yes? Okay, then let's move. Okay, that's one. Okay, then let's move. Now this is the, okay, so that's for the select or to read the data. Now, the other thing that we have also, how we can update the data. Now we have update. You put the collection name and you put update 1 or update many or replace 1. So let's see one example about the update many, for example. So what we have, for example, we have the DB users dot update many. Okay, means like how many documents I have. Whatever documents satisfy the condition will be changed. like before what you have in Oracle. Okay, update employee, set employee ID equal 10, for example. So if I write like that, okay, update employee, set employee ID equal 10, for example. If I didn't put where, means like all the rows that I have in the table, the ID will change to whatever value I give. If it is 10, then everything will be 10, for example. Let's say if it's not the primary key, the ID. And if you put, for example, update employee, set the employee ID equal 10, where the employee ID equal 100. So in this case, you are changing only or updating only one row. So the same thing here. If you are saying that, okay, I want to do update many, but the condition is if the age less than 18, so this is my condition. So if the age less than 18, then I want to set the status to reject. The problem in this, again, is the syntax, as you can see. Many braces and but I mean with the practice. So usually the people who, for example, they work only with this, like they are using only the MongoDB command, this one. So day after day, it will be easy for them. But working with different languages, maybe that's make it a little hard to remember. So if you want to try the update, this is the, let's see these two commands. So let's take a look to this one. I should share it with you. I'm going to share the file. Where is it? So if you want to try this one, share with me. So this is the example about the update. So what we are saying, we need to work updates many on the users. If the age is less than this, then set the status to this. Okay, so if we go now, if we run the table from the beginning, let's see what we have. Okay, so what is the age now? In this case, the age less than 18. So if you try this command now, if you try this, update, okay, and then if we try to run our table again to see what's changed, nothing changed. Why nothing changed? Because there is nothing satisfy the condition. The age that we have is 26, and we are saying that change the status only if the age is less than 18. So if we are saying, for example, less than 30, we'll change this one to 30, and I have here 26. So if I run this one, then it should change and tell me that it's one row change. If I go to the find again, it should show me that the status changed to reject. It's fine. Okay, the other command that we have is if we want to do the delete, the same thing. So we have delete one or delete many from the name. So delete one means like so delete operations remove the document from the collection. The MongoDB provides the following methods to delete documents from the collection. So basically, these are the methods that we can use to delete documents from the collection. Now the delete will be as I explained. Like if you say delete one, it should delete the first document that satisfies the condition, the first one. If you choose delete, if you use delete many and then you put the condition, then it should delete all the documents that satisfy the criteria. So if you want to try that command, so we can try this one. We are saying now we need to delete if the condition is like that. So what is the command here? The command is this one. So we're saying we need to delete from the user whenever the status is reject. So if I run this command, then it gives me one affected. So if I run, see what I have in my table, so there's nothing, 0, because we delete the only row that we have, or the only document we have. Okay, so that's these a few examples showed you the important commands that we can use within the MongoDB for to read, to insert, or to create, delete, and update. Okay, so now we will go in more details. Any question before I move, please? Everything is good? All clear? Excellent. Okay, so now the other thing that we have querying the textual data. Now, since the database that we can, or the data that we can have within this type of databases can be very big, with the different types, with a different structure, with a different, so it's a good idea to know how to do the search. So what we have here, we have something called the text index. Is how, if you have a table or collection, you can create index based on that collection, and then you can do search based on the columns that you specified. By other words, I have a collection. The collection includes many data. I can set the index on a specific field. For example, I know that usually I search based on name. Okay, so I create index based on the name. So when I do the search, instead of reading everywhere and checking all the data, okay, so I'm reducing now the search area to specific field. So let's see what you have in this regard. Okay, so the MongoDB supports the query operations that perform a text search of string content, right? So to perform the text search, the MongoDB uses a text index and the text operator. So we have two things. We need to create the index, and then we need to use a text, this one, the $text operator. Now, what is the text index? We'll see that the MongoDB provide text indices to support the text search queries on the string content. Okay, so basically the search, we can make it on the string. Now, the text can include any field whose value is a string or an array of string elements. Now, how we can do the search? In order to perform the text search query, you must have a text index on your collection. So number one, you need to create this one. So in order to do the text search query, you need to create first the text index on your collection. And what is the constraint here? The collection can only have one text search index, but the index can cover multiple fields. So basically, you can create the index one time, but that index can be on different fields. How we can do that? Let's see the command that we can do. So first we need to create another table. The table is called stores. So if you want to do this, so let's see, this command is what? DB stores insert, and then we need to insert 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 documents, and then per each document we have name, ID and name and description. So how many attributes we have? We have 1 and 2 and 3, including the ID. So first let's run this command to create the collection with the data. Number 1. So if we are here, then what I will do, Control-A, delete. So shell, do Control-V. And then what we need to do here is we need to run this command. So run it. Then it's working. And now if I want to refresh, just click and click, it should give me here the stores. Now this is done. If I go to stores, double click. And then if I go to this view to see what we have. So for the stores, what we have the ID and we have the name, and then we have the description. Okay, that's one. So what is the second point? Second point, we need to create an index. And we need to specify that, because let's assume that we have many columns and many data. And we want to say that our search need to be here or here, or on here or on here, whatever. So how we can do that? The command is, so for example, you can run the following in the Mongo shell to allow the text search over the name and description fields. Okay, so what we said, per each collection, you can add this command one time. This one time, we can use it to create index. Can be on one field or many fields. So what I'm saying here, I want to create an index. Based on this collection. Create an index based on this collection, and it needs to be on this column and this column. So on this attribute and this attribute. So the name is just the text and description of the text, because we have both of them text. So that's the syntax of this create index. So if you take this one and you create it, it should show you that it's done. And now after that, you need to see how we can use it. So first, let's open again the source to see what we have. So that's what we have, and now we already create the index. Now let's see what we can do. So the second command is what? Is this one. Okay, so this is it's not moving. So how to use now the text operator. As you notice in the command that we use here in the MongoDB, we have different type of operators. Like for the comparison operators, we'll see later for the logic operators. So for the search operators, we have this operator for the text. So how this will work, you can see. So use the text query operator to perform the text searches on the collection with the text index. So first of all, we need to create the index, and we did. And then how this will work? This will tokenize the search string using the white spaces. Okay, and most punctuation as delimiters like the comma and perform a logical OR for all such tokens in the search string. For example, if you write something like that, if you're saying that, okay, I want to work on the stores, I want to find, and then what we have here in the search, just take a look at this one. This is search, and this is the pattern. So this is from here till here. This is one. Is the value. So I want to search for Java space coffee space shop, and then this one for the parameter. So basically, all of this represent the selection, as you notice, because you mentioned before that the find method can accept two things. The first one, selection, and the second one for the columns or the projection. So here we are talking only about the rows. We are not talking about the columns or the attributes. So this one will work as what? There's no logic operator, so this will consider OR. Means what? So we should get all the documents that include Java or coffee or shop, either Java or coffee or shop. So if we try this one, and the two fields that we have them for, that we create them with the index. So if you go there, and then if we try this command, originally that's what we have. So let's see, what should we get? So it is OR. Okay, so then what you need to have here, we need the Java. So this has Java, we should get number 1, because it has the Java. And then the coffee, we should get this one also. This one has the coffee, this one has the coffee. And then the shop, we should have the shop also, this one, right? Now, in this case, what should we get? We should get 1 and 3 and 4. Who's with me? So we can get 1 and 3 and 4. So if we run this one, we get 1 and 3 and 5. Okay, 1 and 3. So what's before? Where is it? This one on 5. I mean that's one. So this one, again 1. So 1 and 3, and this one. Okay, Now there is another pattern that we can use if we want to search for exactly, not the or. So here, if for example, following will find a document containing exactly this this text. So if you want the exact text, then you can use this example. How this different than before? If anyone with me, anyone can say how this is different? Like how this different than this? This syntax, this will work. Consider it it's or. So either this or this or this. So this while this one will give you the exact. So coffee shop. So only coffee shop. So in this case, we need to get only the ID3, right? We'll get only the ID3 for this one. Only ID3. Okay. Here, please, till here. Any question? Everything clear? Okay. So you are using exactly the same command with the other course? All of you are using this? Exactly the same command you did in the other course, or? Just the find and the insert? Okay, okay. Okay, so everything is good. As you see, like it's not that much. Maybe the syntax would be like, if, for example, if I ask you, if I give you a question like to write this, you think it will be possible? Or like if in the exam, like if I give you a question to write like this command, to do like that, well, for you it's open book. For you it's open book, there's no problem. So for the, like I have some other groups, like if the exam is closed book and with the respondents monitor, lock down the browser, I think it will be a little hard to memorize all these, the braces with the colon. But if it is open book, I don't think it will be very, very hard. It should be in one, one search, you can get everything. Okay. So. Okay, so now let's go to the other one. Let's see more. So we finished the reading, the update, the delete, query, this one, this one. Now we'll turn back to the filtering the data. So filtering the data, as we explained, or reading the data, basically the command that corresponding to the select statement that we have with the traditional database. So for example, if we are working with the table in Oracle, let's call it inventory. So if I want to display all the rows when the status equal D or like D, so we can say select a star from inventory where status equal D. So this should give you all the rows from the table where the status equal D. If you want to do the same thing here within the MongoDB, you need to put db.inventory.find, and you put the condition within the two braces. So status D, this one. So let's do, first let's create the inventory collection and do the more practice about that. So let me just open give you the code for the inventory, just a second. Where is the inventory? This is 16, okay, 16, 16. You can run this command. And then share the screen. Okay. Now we need to run this one. Run inventory. Then we get it. Now we get the inventory here if you want to open to see what we have. So we have 5 documents. So if you are on the tree for this one, if you're on tree view, this one. So if you do Control A, select everything. You do right mouse click. Okay. Right mouse click. You have something called expand. If you choose the expand, this will show you all the details that you have within the each single document. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so what you need to do now, 16. Okay, so for filtering the data, as I said, so we can try this command. So we have the, for example, if you want to display only when the status equal D. So if you can try this one. So if you are here on the everything shared, right, from my side, please, screen shared. So now if you have this command, so if you take a look, where's the status? So if we take a look, this is status A. So this is A, and this is the second one is what? It's also A, and then here we have D. So how many D we have? This is D, this is D, and then 2D. Okay. So we're saying that we need to status D, 2 or 3. So if we highlight, if we run this one, so you should get these two. Then if you want to take a look at the data, so you get the status D. So basically select a star from inventory where status equal D. That's the first retrieve. More. Okay, let's see more. Now, the other thing is if you want to use the, for example, if you have array, so how we can use the N with the list. So you see that. We take a look now to this command. See this one. So I want to find from the inventory when the status N, A, or D. Means what? Like I'm saying that I want to display, I want to select a star from inventory where status equal A or status equal D. So just like OR. What is this symbol? This symbol is N. So when you compare one value with many values, so we're saying if the status in this one, then give me either A or D. So basically this should give either A or D. So if you run this one, you should get all of them. Why? Because it is OR. So either A or B. Either A or D. That's the other one. What else? Okay, now the question. So we can use or we can use N. Both of them should be okay. So this one, similar than if you write select a star from inventory where status in this one, or you can say where status equal or where status equal A or status equal D, also the same. Now we can use the different types of logical operators, like you can use AND, you can use OR. Also, you can use the comparison operators. So let's see what is this command. Let's take a look at this one. What is this? If you take a look now to this another example. Okay, what is this? I want to find the status A, quantity less than 30. So anyone can tell what is the, how we can read this one or what this statement will do? Anyone here? Hello. So what is this? Quantity of status A has quantity less than 30. So is it AND or this one? This is AND. So find all the inventory where the status equal A and the quantity equal less than 30. So it is AND. So once there is no operator, if there's no operator, so the program understands that it is AND. So how we read it, this will give all the rows or all the document where the status equal A. So status equal A, and the quantity, where's the quantity? You cannot see the quantity because it's embedded. And the quantity less than 30. So the status is A and the quantity less than 30. So if I want to see all the data, then as I said here, I can equal A, expand. So what's the question? The question is we need the A and the quantity less than 30. So where's the quantity? This is the quantity. So A, the status A, and the quantity less than 30. Now, is this working correctly or not? Who can check the data and tell me if this is working or not working? So let's see what we have. Okay, so what we need the status A and the quantity less than 30. So this is A, right? And this is what, quantity less than 30? So this is 1. So this should be, we should get this one, right? If you move here, this is A, right? And quantity less than 30? Yes, this is, so we get 2. Now, if we move down, this is D, not included. This is D, not included. And this one, status A. And the quantity is less than, what's the quantity? 15, less than 30. Okay, so if we run this one, in order to be sure that we get the correct, we should see 3. So if we run, we get 0. Anyone know what's wrong? Small thing wrong here with this command. It's not wrong. We didn't get error. We didn't get error, but it's not working. Anyone know why it's not working? Any idea? No? No idea? No problem. Okay, so let me tell you what's the problem. So now when you run this command, what you are saying, we need the status equal A, quantity less than 30. So the condition would end, right? If you go to the find, like this one, you try to see what we have. Go to the tree and then expand. So first, where is it? The status is what? The status is a regular field, right? So we have ID and then item and status, right? But where is the quantity? The quantity is part of the in stock. So this is like subfield from this field. So this is like we have one row inside the other. That's why we call it embedding or embedded. So this one we have one inside the other. So this quantity is not like a regular field that we have it. Excellent, then, exactly. So it should be in stock quantity. Very good. So it should be in stock. So how we can write this one? We need to say in stock and then dot this one. What is it? Here. So we need to come here and we need to put in stock dot. What else? We run. It should give also nothing. Yeah, error. White error because this one, if you use the dot notation, it has to be within double quotation. So if you run this one now, it should work. Okay, so that's one. That's the correct one. So this one need to be this should be the command. What is this? This one. So you have, if you want to use it, because this is from another inventory example, that's why. Another that has already direct quantity. So this, for this file, we need to have the field and then dots, the subfield within the double quotation. Okay, so this one means like it will give the inventory status equal A and quantity. So this one, how we read it, the status equal A and then the quantity less than or equal 30. Exactly. Now, what if we want to use OR? We want to use OR, the same thing. So this should not work, the same story. So if we take this one and we want to change it to OR, so this one needs to be this one. So how to run this? Let's see. Okay. If you want to take this one, this is the command here. Okay, so now how this is different than before? This will give you like, okay, I want to select from inventory where the status equal A or the quantity less than 30. So with OR. So either this or this. That's the other example. Clear, please, for everyone till here? Okay, so now we have the query selectors or the comparison operators that we have. So you have all these symbols. So equal, greater than or equal, n with the list widget, less than or equal to, not equal to, or not in the list, or none of the value, or not in the list means. So like if you have a list of value, so none of the value or not in the list, same thing. So these are the comparison operators that we can use. The logical operators, you can use and, not, nor, and or. And as you can see, there is a $sign that you have it before each operator. Why? That's part of the syntax, even these operators. So any of these operators, if you want to use it, comparison or logic, you need to have the $sign. Okay. Now, the other part that also we talk about is the projection. The projection refer to the, I can say project this field, mean display this field. So projection is used to display or specify which column you want to display. So see, by default, the queries of the MongoDB return all the fields in the matching documents. Now, to limit the amount of the data that MongoDB sends to the applications, you can include the projection document to specify or restrict the fields to return. So the main idea of the projection, that how we can reduce the number of retrieved columns or property attributes. So the first one, this one, like if we run this command as we did before, this will retrieve all the documents and retrieve all the properties, means all the column, only for the status equal A. So when the status equal A, we get all the documents, we get all the columns, because we didn't add a projection. This command, this one, we take a look at this. So this command will show you how we can project some of the fields. So you can see here. So what we have, we are saying that we need, for the row, we need to have the status equal A, that's a selection, and the projection, you have items equal 1, status equal 1. So this is one column, this is one column, but we will get 3 columns because the ID will appear by default. So if you run, you should see, you get that 3 columns. So you get the ID by default, and you get the item, and you get the status. That's one. If for some reason we want to hide the ID, then also we can just add ID equals 0. Let's see that in the example. Okay, now if you add this one, take a look at this command. We can hide the ID. We can say in the command, we can say we need to find status equal A, item, status, but no ID, so ID 0. So if you run this one, you get only 2 columns. Okay, so now we understand that the 0 is off, like hide, and the one means display. All right. So then let me show you one thing. If I hide this one, if I remove this one, okay, bear with me a second. And then what I'm saying, let's say I want to have item 1 status 0. What do you think this should give? Without trying, don't run it. Just tell me what do you think based on what we explained. Anyone still here? Nobody here. Okay, so this one, see what we said that the 1 means to show, 0 means to hide, right? So based on this should give what? Which column we should get? We should get item, exactly, right? So we get item and ID. Item and we should get item and ID. Y status 0, right? So based on what we explained, this should give item and ID. This should give item and ID, right? Right, but with status 0. So let's see. If we run this one, we get what? We get error. So if we run this, we get error. So what is the rule? The rule says that you cannot mix the inclusion and exclusion, which means like to show or hide for the regular field in one statement. So you cannot say that this is 1, this is 0, this is 1, this is 0. You cannot do like that. So either will say this is 1, or all of them 1, or all of them 0. So how come we did that before with the ID, except the ID? So it says here, this is cannot do exclusion on the field status in the inclusion projection. So what is the meaning of that? If you return back to the slide here, you'll see that. So let's see. What is it? Can remove the, yeah, so this one we explain about the ID. So this will give the item, will give the status, but no ID. Okay, we mentioned that. Now if you take a look this one, with the so with the exception of the ID field, you cannot combine inclusion and exclusion statement in the projection documents. Means you cannot have mix of 1 and 0. Why? There's no one. That's syntax. Like that's how they design it. So if you want to specify which one to appear, you put it 1, 1, 1. If you want something not appear, just you put it 0, zeros, and then the ID. It's possible to do whatever you want. To show or hide, you can do for the ID. So this statement will give an error. Why? Because we are doing here, this is 1 and this is 0, so this will not gonna work. Okay, so again, in this case, what? If we have here a status A and then status A and then status 0 and stock 0. So here what we are saying, we are excluding these. So basically, this statement should give what? Should give the ID and everything else except the status and the install. So this is possible. It's possible to exclude as whatever field you want. So if you do this one, we want to display all the status A, but for the column, we don't need to see the status. We don't need to see the stock. So if you remember, if you run this one, you should see that we get the ID and then the item and then the size, but no status and no install. So what is this one? 3? Why size 3? Like if you go to the 3 and then select all and you do right mouse click, and you will see that the size includes 1, 2, 3. So three values, as you can see. So that's why when you go to the table here, it will tell you that this is embedded. This is a document embedded in this document. So this is each one of them. It's a row that include subfield. Okay. Everything clear, please? So this lecture was about, as you see that the introduction about some of the commands that we have here, the CRUD commands for the creation and read and update and delete, and then more about the selection and the projection. We have more commands also that we need to cover for next lecture, next week. What else I want to say? Yeah, so do you have any question, please, before I move to talk about the assignment? Any question, please? Everything is good? Everything is good. Okay, if everything is good, then let's open the assignment and talk about the assignment a little bit. Database assignment 4, assignment 4, assignment 4. Okay, let me see. Did I change for you the folder? The assignment due date is changed or not yet? Assessment, assignment 4, December 4. So December 4 is what? It's Saturday, so it's changed already. Yeah. So I changed it already, the due date. Okay, then let's share the assignment page. Okay, see what you need to have. Okay. So assignment 4. Okay, so first you need to create a database of an application of your choice. For example, an e-commerce solution or anything from yours, like anything from your choice. So just you need to have a database, like you create the tables based on anything you want. But I hope that when you submit, also you add something, like you can tell me what are these tables. So just for example, is it for a hospital? Is it for university? Is it for school? What you are creating. Now, what you need to submit, two things. One file is a script file, .sql file, which should contain all the commands to create the tables, the sequence, the triggers, the procedures, and the functions. So first file need to be similar to what we use in this course. Like for example, let me show you. So if you remember this code, you remember like this kind of file, this one? This is a SQL file. So this file includes all the commands to create the tables and everything. So if I copy this one, if I copy this and take it to my Oracle developer and just execute it, this will create for me the tables, will add the rows, will create if there's a procedure, there's a function, there's a trigger. So I just need to take the code and run it. I should get everything. So basically, this assignment asking you to put the command here in this file and send it as one file. But from your side, you need to run. That means like, okay, you're not just send me this one. You need to apply it on your side. Means like you need to create all these things from your side. You need to practice it on your side and send it to me. And that's one. What else? So that the second thing you need to have, you need to run to send me another file that include the run samples of your functions. Like the run, you need to give me the command that I can use to run, and also if you want, you can include screenshot of the result. That's also possible. So I didn't mention specifically, but I want the script to run. Means like I want another file, and I want another file. If I run it, the procedure will work, the function will work, the trigger will work. So running, how to run, how to use, basically anonymous. So you need to have the anonymous block. Trigger execute for the insert. How? So the trigger. Okay, now no, not to show the command. How you call? For example, like how to call it. Yeah, not necessarily the output. I know. Jane, how many script do we need to have for the run document? One script for the creation, one script for the run, one script, but you put many commands. Okay, try to make it simple, like the procedure. I don't care like what is the, just make it, okay, make the procedure, simple function, simple trigger. How many commands? Commands were in just one second. How many scripts do we need to have for the, okay. I have created 2 files, one for creating everything and another for that. Excellent, Amik. Exactly, you're right. That's what we need. 2 files only. One create everything and one executor. That's it. That's what you need. How many commands? I mean, for run a document. When I run script one by one, it works. But when I run whole script for creating tables to create functions, show error. Then if it is working one by one, means like what you need to do, like you highlight the, for example, create table, you highlight the create table and run it, and then you highlight the create table, the other one, and run it like that one by one. Okay. So I can advise you check the script sample that you have, so see what's missing. So maybe you need to put some semicolon or the slash. Just see the sample. You should put the slash after each create. Yeah. The test is working. Okay, if the test is working, that's good. The test is working, that's good. But as Jane mentioned, exactly. So just after each create semicolon slash, create semicolon slash. So just add slash. Now, the content of your database include and need to be included in that database. So you have tables, minimum 4. So minimum 4, do 4. While you are doing more, don't do more. So 4. If you want to do more, you can. But minimum 4, that 4 is accepted. That's it. Sequence, you need to create at least 1, so 1 sequence. Triggers, you need to create at least 2 triggers. Procedure, 2 procedures. Function, 1 function. That's it. And then after that, what you need to do, you must also include this one. You must also include a copy of your project under Oracle or Oracle 1 with the group schema. The meaning of this, if I open my Oracle developer, and if I want to look to your account, so I need to see these objects. You get it? All of you understand this point? This one clear for all of you? By now, this is clear, please. Now, there should be a minimum 10 records, 10 insert statements for the data tables. You should be populating your tables with meaningful data. No, don't put just like X and Y and Z anything. No, just make some meaningful data in the table. You need to if you have 4 tables, and in each table you have 10 insert statements. Now you have extra days. I give you extension till Saturday. You're supposed to submit it on Wednesday. Now I give you how many days? So you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you have 3 days. So I think it should be enough for all of you. Okay, can I ask about, let's see. So let's see the question. Okay, now it's work with done. Excellent. Now, can I ask about the final exam format? Is encoding a multiple question? Sungmin, the final exam, all the question will be multiple choices and true and false, filling the blank, something like that. No coding. About the final test, is that a quiz or assignment? About the final test, is that a quiz or assignment? I didn't get the question then. You have, so on this course, you have 10 quizzes and you have 4 assignments. Now we are done with the assignment. This is the last one that you are working on. Quizzes, we finish 8. We have 1 this week, we have 1 next week, and we will be done. And the final will be on week 14. I'll post the announcement about that. Okay.
Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. So I have 3 questions for this assignment.
Yes.
So one of them is that I can see at the end of the file we have a note that it said 10 insert statement for the data table. So right. This 10 insert statements should be totally or for each table?
There should be minimum 10 records per each table. 10 insert for data table, like for each table.
Okay, so it will be, for example, if I have like 4 tables, it will be like minimum 40
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, if you want to write a state like insert all, there's a command insert all that you can put everything, also possible if you want.
Okay.
There's a command called insert all. If you search it, insert all, that you can put all like the 10 in one insert. So you can do also that.
Okay, cool.
But at the end, each table need to have minimum 10 records. There should be a minimum 10 records per each table. Okay?
Okay, cool. Thanks. And then the second question is that do we need to have any a script for a trigger inside of the run script or run document? Or because like the triggers will run automatically. So I was just wondering that do we need to have any commands inside of the run script for triggers or no?
Okay, so let's see what I mentioned here in the question. Just let me see. So okay, so script to run samples of your function procedure. So the triggers, like, okay, just a second. So for the trigger, let me try to remember. So we cannot call something like to run it. Just let me see. So if you have it run automatically, like once you create it, then I need to double check before I answer this one. So I need to see, like, I think there's we can have something for the trigger also. So I can check this one and let you. I'll reply to you maybe in the 1 second. Let me add here in the announcement. So for I need to double check what you can do for the trigger before I answer. Announcement trigger in run file. Okay. So what's the other question? Sorry, Samida?
Yeah, and then the other question is that I wanted to know that how many commands do I need to have for run a script?
How many commands inside the run file? You mean the run script?
Yeah.
Okay, so see how many you have, like what you create. Where is it? Just a second. So you have, okay, you have 2 procedures, right? So if you have 2 procedures, it says here you have at least 2 procedures. So 2 procedures, then we need to have 2 call to each one. Like you need to call each one of them. So basically, if you have 2 procedures, then you need to have a command to call the first procedure. You have another command to call the second procedure. You need to have a command to call the function. So 1 for the function, 2 for the procedures, and what else? The sequence, you already use it with the table, so we don't have issue. And then what else? The trigger, I need to double check for the trigger that do we need to have something or just when you create it. So for this one, for sure, you need to have a minimum of 3. So 1 for the function and 2 for the procedures.
Okay, so even if I have like 4 functions, only 1 command.
No, if you have more than that, no. If you, I'm talking about this one because it says minimum. So if you have more than 1 function, then you need to have a call because you need to show me how the functions work, right? So if you have 2 functions, you call 2 functions. You have 3 procedures, call for the 3 procedures.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So now you want from me to answer now the trigger. I will check it and then I'll post the announcement. You just watch it. For trigger, if I have a trigger for the insert, okay. Yeah. Any more question? Can I use select to show the change? That also will be a good idea. That will also be a good idea for the trigger. Like you can just add a select statement to show the changes for the trigger. You can do that also. But at least add a comment, like what's the trigger do, like something like that, so I will know easily. For me, you need to understand, like also from my side, the marking it's an issue, right? So I need to take a look to all the code. I need to see that it's working as requested. That's why. So try to help me in your report, please. Like if you add some comments, not too much, like not about a lot of writing, but just like a comment. This function do like this procedure do like this trigger do like this. So make it, yeah. So put comments, small comments. This will help me when I read your report. And remember, it is 15% from the final grade. So this is a good chance for the student who didn't do well in the previous assignment. This will help you to get a good mark. So please do your best. The student who missed some quizzes, the student who missed some of the assignments before. So this is a good chance for you to do your work. Do your best. The reason I give you extension, because I know that see, whenever you ask me extension, I will not say no, because I can understand what happened from your side. You have many courses, you have a lot of responsibility. But from me also, like the problem, I need to finish the marking as soon as I can, because it cannot be more late. That's one. The second thing that I want to hear from you, please, if any one of you has issue with one of the mark from before, so send me email, short email, please. Don't make it long story. Short email. Okay, miss, I have issue in this one, like this is the issue. That's it. So I will look quickly to what you have and try to fix it before I submit all the grades. So we need to clarify everything. We need everything to be good before the final. Like if you have any issue about the grade, let me know. I will. I mentioned that many times, but still I didn't post it, the extra quiz for the student who missed any quiz before, or for the student who would like to improve one of the quizzes, also possible. So I will add one extra quiz, but it's little challenge because it will cover many lectures. I will tell you what are the lectures that it will be focused on. You can try that quiz, and then whatever mark you get, I will consider it for any missing quiz that you have. Like, let's say also for some of you maybe didn't do well in one of the quizzes and you want to improve, also you can try this quiz and use it as, you can use the grade instead of that. Quiz 9, I'll open it hopefully tomorrow. I'll open it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll open quiz 9. Okay. Any more issue, please? Anything else? Everything's good? Everything is good. Okay, then just wait from my side. I'll give you an announcement about for the trigger, just to confirm that. And also about the final, I need to give an announcement. Okay, and then if you don't have any question, then have a good night, and I will see you next lecture. Take care, and good night, everyone. Yeah, take care, everyone. Good night. Nice dream. Take care. Bye. In next class. Take care. Good night.